Earthquake increases and eastern United States faults. Quake areas found. We've just had a magnitude 2 at Malbaie in Canada. This is an area, as we'll see, that gave a magnitude 7 earthquake in the past. We've had trouble finding quake fault zones, as they've told us they really can't find them because they're so ancient. The only way they can ascertain that they're there is from earthquakes. It seems that the West Coast is more studied. The quakes and faults give evidence of where the fault lines are. This is, for example, one of the areas in the beautiful state of Maine. This is the Jordan Pond, Jordan River. This is the volcanic areas of the North American area. And you can see the New Madrid seismic zone, Appalachian Mountains, even where the area of Quebec and Montreal are. And that area up there is where we have our recent earthquakes. And what does that mean? What can I tell you? We have various things going on. People telling us that we have magma plume corridors pushing like a balloon and pressing into the areas of West Coast, and that's pushing into the areas of New Madrid. We also have found out recently that the North American plate is cracking in the area of the New Madrid and sloughing off, trying to fall off towards the southeast. This is another area of the Maine volcanoes. Now, I just had a comment from Lua B. She's in Maine. It was concerning the recent video I posted concerning the ancient fault lines in East US, New York, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, about the Ramapo fault zone that could give a 6 or 7 magnitude earthquake. Now, she lives in Maine, and she says that she has been seeing earth changes there. Thank you, Lua B, for your comment. And I'd like to give the information that she gave us, because we know that Maine, only about 200 miles coastline. In the past videos concerning Maine and the volcanoes of Maine, they have 5 volcanoes there that they've found. These beautiful areas that we see of the lakes and mountains of Maine and northeastern United States, beautiful. But this is all volcanoes. All this is ancient volcanoes. Now, they may be extinct, they may be dormant, but we don't let that give us a peace of mind, because, recently an extinct volcano of the Kamchatka Peninsula in Russia, which was not even on the list of volcanoes because they thought it was just totally extinct, has been found to have the magma chamber filled and is ready to explode any day. So, and that's concerning an extinct volcano. And this again is one of the areas in Maine. You can see that that's part of the volcanic system there as well. All right, so we have 5 Maine volcanoes, and they have found explosive materials from Maine in Britain and England. Of course, at that time, you didn't have the Atlantic Ocean that as widespread as it is today. We're talking about 200, 300 million years ago. It was not as big as it is today. It was basically a rift valley, and it was opening up, so the continents of Europe and North America were much closer together. And that's how they found the explosive material of the Maine volcanoes material in England. Now, Lua B says that she has been seeing changes in the mountains along the Appalachian trails in central Maine. She said it started with noises and then shifting off the ground. And they also noticed that there was black tarry stuff coming out of the openings of the ground. And also they noticed the smells of sulfur. The smell of rotten eggs, or the smell that you smell when you light an old-fashioned match, because they're coated with sulfur on top. So, along the mountain trail, then small ponds that was boiling and dead animals. Okay, dead animals, you usually see that as we saw. If you have not seen it yet, Dante's Peak is a great movie to see. And the low down is where you have the carbon dioxide accumulation. That's where the animals can just basically breathe in too much of that, and it'll bring them to their demise. So that's why perhaps they have all these signs there. And along the mountain, she says, a small pond boiling, dead animals. I've been told not to talk about this too much, she says. And she wanted us to know. And I thank you very much, Louis B., for your information. That's very important. And we have to keep in mind, Maine has, we said, it had 5 volcanoes. And, volcanoes are volcanoes. And now, I'd like to go into what we had concerning the earthquake at Malbaie, Canada. We'll see that because that exact area gave a magnitude 7 earthquake in the past. But Maine's volcanoes, we have among the world's biggest, according to Live Science, Becky Oskin. Maine has supervolcanoes. Not just volcanoes, supervolcanoes. Yes, and their eruptions could have been among the biggest ever on Earth. This is according to geoscientist Sheila Seaman. And this was reported when? It was October of 2013. She's at the Geological Society of America's annual meeting. She said this long before there were these things called supervolcanoes. We've known about giant, big, horrific, silicic volcanic eruptions. The most massive of these blasts in recent history was Toba, which blew up an island in Indonesia 2.5 million years ago. The explosion heaved 700 cubic miles, or 2,800 cubic kilometers of magma out of the Earth's crusts. Around 420 million years ago, a series of super eruptions dropped thick piles of ash and lava fragments along the proto-east coast of the United States. There were at least 4 volcanoes spread out along 100 miles of Maine's coast. Okay, well, Maine, we said, has 200 miles and they have 5 volcanoes. But anyway, 4 of them are within 100 miles stretch of the coast. The huge volcanic rock piles are consistent with caldera-forming eruptions, Seaman said, and the explosions empty a magma chamber, leaving a gaping wound in the earth. Think Yellowstone National Park or the San Juan volcanic field in Colorado. Since they formed, she said, the ancient volcanic layers have been tilted up by tectonic forces, providing a top-to-bottom slice through a supervolcano. For example, the Isle aux Hot, part of Acadia National Park, these are the pictures that we have here of Maine, exposes the heart of a volcano. The whole magma chamber is lying on its side, she said. Building on years of geologic mapping and tectonic reconstructions by other researchers, she has traced a direct connection between the cooled and crystallized magma chambers called plutons and their enormous ash deposits. Volcanic rock layers on Maine's Cranberry Island have a 2,300-foot thick layer of welded tuff, a rock formed from volcanic ash, and the welded tuff from Toba's most recent blowout is 2,000 feet thick. This one here in Maine is 2,300 feet thick, so it's more. On the remote island of Isle aux Hot, part of Acadia's National Park, the volcanic rocks are more than 3 miles thick. 3 miles thick? They're capped by an immense ash flow, more than 3,200 feet, 1 kilometer thick. The Seaman Estates caldera Mount Desert Island would have been around 15 miles long, 15 miles wide. For comparison, Toba's caldera is 62 miles long, 18 miles wide. The coast is so serene and so beautiful and has such a very terrible, violent past, she said. Now, she thinks the super eruption struck between 424 million to 419 million years ago. In the Silurian period, after islands the size of Japan slammed into the eastern edge of Laurentia, the continental core of North America, and after that, tectonic forces stretched and tore Earth's crust behind the collision zone, making space for magma to rise from the mantle, the layer beneath the crust. That's concerning Maine. So yes, Maine, supervolcanic Maine. I'd like us to go and see together what the maps look like, so you can see the plotted earthquakes, plus where we've had earthquakes recently, and also what's happening around there, just so that you can get a feel of what's happening around the United States and Canada and East Coast. Okay, so here we are at Seismo Berkeley. I like this site because it plots them nicely and they go up fast. And this is the area of our quake that we've had in Malbaie, Canada. Okay, it's a place in nowhere. I used to live in Montreal. I never even heard of this place, but it's a big distances to travel. I have gone to Quebec, a beautiful place. Now, Ottawa as well. Now, this is our area, and this is Maine right here. And we're going to see that on, oh, let's go here. Okay, we'll have it right here. Okay. This is Malbaie. I picked it up. I plotted it. This is the area. And this is Maine. As we said, 200 miles, about 200 miles. Okay, 212 miles coastline. They have 5 volcanoes. 4 of them are together in 100 miles. Maybe this, the distance 100 mile distance. And that's the supervolcano area. Maine is a supervolcano. I mean, look, it's 100 miles. Let's say half of it. Let's say take the radius. Pick the radius and go around, and it's like half of Maine is a supervolcano. Half of Maine is a supervolcano, at least, because we said with 5. The whole coast is full of volcanoes. Let's go back to our earthquake. This is the area that's becoming quite active. Oh, as we've been speaking, all these just went up the past hour. How much is that? That's a new one. 3.5 petroleum. Okay, that's Juan de Fuca plate, the Cascadia subduction zone, and this is, of course, okay. This is Salton Sea. This is Ridgecrest 1.1. We'll see those later on. Hawaii's had as well. Okay, 1.9. Pahala Deep. That's in the magma plume. Something's going on there. But you can see that we've had a tremendous amount of increase every single day here. I don't know how deep they are. That's shallow. But some of them have been quite deep, and that's unsettling. Okay, that's shallow. Okay, this isn't kilometers, but they're still shallow. And that's the 4 magnitude that we had in Texas. That was really strange. And this is the 2 that we just had today. Okay, and let's go back to the details of this. Of course, it was too small for anyone to have felt it. That's the Quebec cities right there. Trois-Rivières, 3 rivers right there. And the regional information concerning this. Let's go into the population. Population density, very little. It's basically farmlands there. Yeah. This is Montreal right there. That's Quebec. This is where I used to live. That's when I finished high school there. And beautiful, beautiful place. Very cold though. In the winter. Okay, let's put up tectonics. I don't think we're going to have any. And pulling out. Pulling out. Okay. You know, a quarter of the population of the United States lives around this area. Okay, this is Maine right here, right under Malbaie. Basically, basically the same area. I mean, just because it's across the border to Canada, doesn't mean that it's not geologically close. And this is it right here, Maine with the supervolcanoes. And our friend Louis B told us that she has noticed, I guess, on their nature walk along the Appalachian Trail in central Maine, no doubt along the ancient areas of the supervolcanic activity. And she said that they noticed something like black tar at the opening around the ground, and at the opening they had the smell of sulfur, and they noticed that the small animals had died, and something about a small pond with boiling water. Obviously there were some kind of fissures or fumaroles underneath because it's a volcanic area, and that's what happens. It's a geological process. Okay, now going back to the details of this. The details of the regional information. The Clairvaux-Kamouraska seismic zone straddling St. Lawrence River, southeastern Quebec. Seismic zone have felt small earthquakes and suffered damage from larger ones for 3.5 centuries. The zone is one of the most seismically active in North America east of the Rocky Mountains. The first and largest known damaging earthquake, magnitude 7. And we'll see that later in the map. In this seismic zone occurred in 1663. Keep that in mind. Magnitude 7, 1663. That's huge. Because you can feel it 10 times more than you would feel it on the west coast. Just keep that in mind. Several others have caused damage since then. Most notably 1925 magnitude 6.2. And the most recent damage from an earthquake at seismic was 1979, magnitude 4.8. Earthquakes cause damage in the seismic zone every few decades. Smaller earthquakes felt roughly 2 or 3 times a year. So that's quite active. Earthquake everywhere occur on faults within bedrock, usually miles deep. Various plate motions form most bedrock and faults beneath the seismic zone over the last billion years. Ancient continents rifted apart to form oceans, and land masses colliding to raise mountains that were then eroded down. And as we read that concerning the empty magma chamber tilted on its side in Maine from the supervolcano. Now this is a beautiful site. I just found this, Seismic Canada, and this is it, La Malbaie, right there. Okay, of course they've plotted all the other ones, the little ones, 3 magnitude, 4 magnitude, and this is Maine right here. You can see 5 magnitudes and stuff right here. This is Maine right here, right there. Okay, that's where is Long Island? Somewhere down there. Anyway, we have more maps. Great Lakes up here. Okay, Buffalo, New York. Mount Laurier, Montreal. Oh, that's 5 magnitude. I didn't even know that. Okay, that's 6 up there. Plattsburgh, New York, right there. Historic seismicity. 1732, magnitude 5.8 Richter scale shook Montreal. 1935, shaking 6.2. 1944, 5.6. Okay. 1990, of magnitude 5, Mont Laurier, Quebec. 1996-97, 2 earthquakes, magnitude 4.4, 4.3, Saint-Agathe-de-Mont in Quebec. That's our La Malbaie, the 7 right there. And this is where we had our 2 Richter earthquake right there, La Malbaie. La Malbaie, Canada is where we had our 7 earthquake in 1663. Okay, historic zones 1663 magnitude 7. Amazing, right there, La Malbaie. Because as we know, all these rivers are rift valley. These are cracks. The rivers are cracks. And that's where you usually get, it's not surprising you get all the seismicity in the rivers. 1860 magnitude 6, 1870 6.5, 1925 magnitude 6.2. And since 1925, event was the only one recorded by seismographs of previous ones, approximate magnitudes evaluating using felt areas and damage. You see earthquake hypocenters, 7th station, local seismograph network center of the active zone, monitoring earthquake activity. That's it. So we found these beautiful maps. Again, more earthquakes. All right. And here we are again. And out into the ocean. Let's go back. Okay, that's a beautiful map. I'm so glad I found that. Because it basically shows you the... and you can see, look, basically along the rivers you have... seismicity. Because they're cracks. Okay. This is another beautiful one. More faults right here. It's the same... okay, here, it's right there. Let's find it. Maybe it's down here somewhere. No, we saw that one. Did we see that one? I don't know. Okay, this is this one here. Okay, so that's more of the faults along the border. This is the Real Foot Rift Zone. Basically, it's only showing Canada, but we take it down. We have the Real Foot Rift Zone right down here. Let's pan out a little bit. So they showed us these, and it goes down this way. That's the failed Rift Valley, and going into the New Madrid seismic zone. That whole thing there is a failed Rift Valley, and we just saw it. Okay, right there. This is where we're getting our very strange seismicity. No, I had another. Sorry, I had another beautiful. Where is it? Oh, this one here. Where is it? This one here. Yes. That's the one I wanted to look at. That's a beautiful one too. There it is. Okay. Because that shows us the plots, and you have the activity right there. Look at this. And look at this. This is, of course, Alaska. They're not showing Alaska, they're only showing Canada. Okay, that's why when we see the USGS maps, we only see USGS, but we don't see the whole of Canada. Now look at this. This is Vancouver Island. 8, 9 magnitude. Look at that. This is Puget Sound. This is Mount Rainier, where we had the mud flow from the lahar that had a 460-foot thick lahar, and the various towns are built over that lahar. That was at 5,600 years ago. The Mount Rainier eruption. So this is the area that was filled in by that. Okay, so that's why I'm so excited that I found this map, because it was something that was missing from our information. And here we are, that's Maine, right there. And look at that. This is Long Island. What size is that? That's about 5. Maybe 4. Okay. But that's Long Island. This is upstate New York. And look at this tremendous activity here. Tremendous activity. Let's remember that that's a seismic area. We had the map with the seismic areas on this. Okay. Cascadia subduction zone. Wonderful. It shows us the map here, the inlay right there. Cordillera in Oregon, the Craton, the plains, Appalachia, Okay, so this is all right, more of their details. More of their details, again, Canada. Puget Sound right there, okay. And Maine right here. Okay, so basically we started to study a little bit more about the eastern coast. Right there, okay. 1663, that's the 7. And I want to find out what's happening here because that's a very strange thing, a strange shape. Okay. Ooh. Okay. A house was washed 1 to 2 kilometers out to sea by the tsunami resulting from the 1929 Grand Banks earthquake. The poor house was washed out by the tsunami. Amazing. Bank of Montreal building, 1946, magnitude 7.3 earthquake. It's amazing the building is still standing. And a rock avalanche, triggered October 5th, 1985. Of course, that's what happens during the quakes. Okay, so that's it for now. Seismic and hazard map, Geology of Canada. Okay. Okay, so we found what our East Coast activity is like. This looks to be, oh, what do you care about a 2 magnitude earthquake? Well, that's been giving huge earthquakes, this area. And as we saw from our map, it's quite active. And let's not forget the East Coast and Maine with the supervolcano, which seems to be all supervolcanoes areas, you know, they have things going on underneath. As our friend Louis told us, the boiling water in the small pond, the smell of sulfur from the cracks opening in the ground, little animals dying, you know, because they are breathing in the carbon dioxide from the gas emissions from the area. So, and of course, earthquakes also give out carbon dioxide. And we have earthquakes there in that area recently. Maybe some that have not been reported because they don't have seismographs that close. Who knows? All right, so I'll leave links below for you for this. And thank you, Louis, for your information. Thank you so much. If you'd like to join me on my Patreon account, you will hear content not covered by mainstream media. These riveting stories will be based on my research, and I will state my opinions and give my personal insight on diverse and controversial subjects and world events not covered by mainstream media, and not supported by YouTube guidelines. So whatever I have on my Patreon, most of those will not be on my YouTube channel. Please consider becoming a member today. More of the most significant and important videos will be on my Patreon channel. Your support helps me to continue my research and keeps this YouTube channel alive. And we depend on your support, your generous charity, because we help economically challenged families here in Athens, Greece, in Kapota, and we also help the young generation with university tuition and the community around our church. Thank you.